Chapter 51. Justin. I woke up in a dark room with my hands tied behind a chair with a silver chain and my legs tied together, also with the same silver. And directly close to my chest was a silver spear laced with wolfsbane attached to a machine. It was aiming directly to my heart, and I knew that with the wolfsbane on the spear, the pain would be 3 times the regular pain that should be felt. I tried freeing myself by breaking through the chains, but each time I do that, the chain pierces deep into my skin and stings more. At this rate, if I should go on, then I'll lose both my hands, and that's a risk I'm not willing to take. I heard the sound of footsteps coming from behind me. I couldn't see whoever it was, because apart from the tiny light ray reflecting on me and the machine, the rest of the place was all dark. "Who's there?" I yelled at the top of my voice, and a blow landed on the right side of my cheek, which hurt like hell. "We are the ones to ask questions, not you. You are to remain silent, and the only thing we want from you is the answers to our questions. You got it?" The voice asked, and I nodded. A hand gripped my throat very tightly, restricting the flow of air entering my body. "I ask questions, and you answer. So speak out," yelled the voice. Yes, sir," I stammered. I couldn't breathe, and my hands were tied, so I couldn't fight. I was at the mercy of the total stranger I know nothing about. He emitted the pheromones of a beta. It was the same as the person who held my mouth shut and told me we needed to talk, while he kidnapped me. And what is the reason for doing so? What does he want with me? Or was he sent here by Alpha Radi to eliminate me? Just then, I heard the footsteps of someone, and that familiar pheromone. It was that of Maverick, my rival, the only one I should be wary of. "Lorenzo, thank you for bringing him here," I heard him say to the one who abducted me. The culprit has finally shown himself. What can I do for you, Maverick? And why am I here?" I asked him. I could hear the growling sound of the one they called Lorenzo. He was about to strike me when Maverick placed his hand on his shoulder. I knew he had said something to him through the mind link, because the beta was calm. Though calm, he didn't miss the opportunity to throw daggers at me with his eyes. "Justin, you don't have the privilege to ask questions," Maverick said in a cool, calm voice, which made me smile. "If I'm not allowed to ask questions, then I'd like to know why I'm here." "You reek of my mate. There is one tiny bit of thread holding me back from shredding you into tiny bits. And I will plead with you not to push me to the walls. Who turned you into a werewolf? And where is Elissa?" "I see no reason for me answering those questions, because it's personal," I answered. "You!" roared Maverick, finally letting go of the calm behavior he was exhibiting earlier on, which irritated me. "Lorenzo, do the needful." The needful? What's the meaning of the needful? I couldn't get the chance to answer when I heard the sound of the machine and the spear piercing deep into my skin. Please, stop, please," I cried out in pain. I tried healing, but the wolfsbane and the silver weren't permitting me to. The pain was beginning to become unbearable for me. "Are you ready to talk? Or should I accelerate the machine? And this time it will be piercing deep into your heart, and you will die for real this time. The ball is in your court. Should I or should I not? Maverick asked, raising his voice a little louder so that I could hear it over the sound of the machine. Don't! Please, don't! I cried out in pain as blood dripped down my mouth. Dying wasn't part of my plans yet. I wanted to get revenge on Alfarati for killing Elissa. I wanted to watch him burn to ashes. Who turned you, Justin? Who made you into a werewolf? He asked, and I knew if I didn't give him the answers he wanted, I would be done for. Peter! I coughed out. The moment I answered, the machine came to a total halt, but the spear was still deep into my chest. He walked towards me and leaned forward. His face was a few inches away from mine. Who is Peter? Alfarati's sentinel, I answered truthfully, afraid of annoying him. How? I was injured in an accident. It was a near-death experience, and he saved me, turning me into a werewolf. And that's why I'm like this. Where is he? And how are you here? What's the connection between you and Elissa? He is dead. I killed him. I was sent here by Roddy to bring back Elissa. That's why I'm here. Where is she? Where is my mate? He asked, gripping my clothes. Dead! I screamed with fear of what he could do to me. She is dead. Dead and dead. She killed herself. I broke down in tears. Maverick. Dead, 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 dead. Those words kept echoing in my head as I staggered backward. Elissa is dead. That's a lie. I read in books that if your fated mate is dead, there would be pain and near-death experience. But I feel nothing, just a slight pain, and Elissa's wolf begging me to save them. She can't be dead. She can never be dead. Where is she? Where's her body? I asked Justin, who spat blood on the floor. Her body is with Alfarati. He took her away, he said, and then I turned to Lorenzo. Gather your men. We are heading to the dark blue crest. I'm going to get my mate back. And you, I said, pointing to Justin. I will get back to you. So sit quietly and wait for me patiently. With that, I walked out of the room as fast as my feet could carry me. When I got to my room, and Omega was already there, packing the clothes I needed for the journey. I won't be going back without getting my mate back with me. I was about to enter the car when I saw Rosaline walking towards me. Her legs and hands were bleeding. I ran towards her. I know who you are. I saw it all, she said, and collapsed in my hands.
Chapter 52. Rosalind. I shouldn't have seen it. I shouldn't have gone out to check what was going on. Now I understand the phrase, curiosity kills the cat. I was curious to get answers, but now I ain't that curious to know anything more again. I closed my ears tightly as Justin tried to explain things to me. All I did was count to 100 over and over again to avoid hearing him and the lies he was telling, but when he mentioned Elissa, I stopped counting at 43. I wanted to know what dirt he had on Elissa. He was about to say it when all of a sudden he went mute, until I heard the growling sounds of animals, and soon the place was quiet as a graveyard. I waited for about an hour, and when I couldn't hear Justin speak or the growling sound anymore, I decided to summon up the courage to go check out things for myself. I assured myself that Justin wouldn't bite me. He wouldn't hurt me. Before stepping out of my room, I was met with the cold wind of the night as it breezed its way towards my direction. The door had been left open, and no one was around. I ran quickly to unlock the door before going to Justin's room to check if he was in his room or if he was playing pranks on me by hiding somewhere, not without arming myself with his baseball bat in case he jumped at me. I would aim directly at his head. I slightly opened the door to his room and popped my head inside, only to discover an empty room. I went straight to his bathroom. He was not in. And then towards the kitchen and the living room. But he wasn't there still. "Justin, you know I'm already scared of you, so please stop playing games with me and come out here," I announced, but I was met with silence. "Justin, this isn't funny any longer. I'll forgive you and listen to you if you come out now. I promise I won't run away or hurt you," I called out to him, while tightening my hands on the baseball bat. I called out to him about 5 more times, and when he didn't respond, it finally dawned on me that Justin wasn't around. He must have left or so. Maybe the animal growls I heard earlier were responsible for his disappearance. They could be his kind. He must have been abducted, I thought. I hurried towards the far corner of the living room where the CCTV was. I played the CCTV camera that was in the house, and I screamed when I saw someone grab Justin and slam his head into the wall. His fangs protruded, his eyes blood-stained red, and his voice was husky and deep. "We need to talk," was what he said to Justin before hitting him hard at the back of his neck. He lifted Justin and then left the house with a speed that I couldn't fathom. I had to report this to the police, but what would I say? "Good evening, officers. My cousin, who's a werewolf, got kidnapped by his werewolf kind, and now I can't get hold of him." I laughed as the scenario played out in my head. They would definitely think that I'm on some kind of crack and lock my ass up in jail, or worse than that. Who would believe that werewolves exist, mythical creatures coming to life, and I was the only one who saw them? Yeah, I'm being delusional. They wouldn't even believe the CCTV camera. They would think I edited it or something. Nobody would want to fucking believe me. And I'm stuck with being the only one to go in search of him without knowing what Justin's reactions would be. I needed to call him to see if he would answer, and then go meet my friend who is good at tracking phones to help me out. I ran to my room to pick up my phone. With a half-broken screen, I dialed his phone, and it went through. I jolted with fright when I heard the sound of his ringtone in the backyard. I ran towards the direction the sound was coming from, and I saw it close to the flower vase. It must have fallen down when he was running to me. Luckily for me, I knew the password to his phone, searching through his contacts. There must be someone I could call to know his whereabouts, but I was surprised to see just 2 contacts on the phone, Peter and someone named Jackass. I decided to call Peter first, but the line wasn't connecting, so my only option was the Jackass, calling the phone and rang out. "Justin, I thought I told you now isn't the time. My mate is gone and I'm close to losing my mind," the Jackass yelled. "I'm sorry, but this is Rosalind, Justin's cousin. Do you know the whereabouts of just—" Before I could complete my statement, he hung up on me. I tried calling again, but it wasn't connecting as it kept saying switched off. I finally gave up after the 10th trial. There must be something in this phone that could lead me to Justin, I thought to myself. I decided to check his gallery to see if I could see some familiar faces, but all I saw was the face of that guy he was kissing and some other people, so I decided to check his videos, and I wished I didn't check it. I saw Elissa and Maverick, and immediately the phone fell from my hand and a message popped up on the phone. "Follow this direction and you will get your answers. Don't call this number ever again." I shouldn't believe what I saw, but it was real. My eyes saw it all. With throbbing and weak legs, I staggered forward, not caring about anything anymore. What was in my head was what I saw on the phone. Justin's disappearance, and lots more. My destination was on the map given to me by the jackass, and right now how to get my answers and solution defined just was all that matters, and I was praying deeply that everything that happened today was all a dream. I didn't know how I got there, or what happened. I found myself at the gate where the map led to. I knocked furiously on the door. At this point, my hands and feet were shaking. My visions were getting blurry. My tongue and lips dried. "State your purpose," came a voice, and the only thing I could murmur out of my mouth was, "I know it all. I know everything. I know it all," I answered, repeating the same thing over and over again, even when I was sent back. I didn't move an inch. Instead, I kept repeating the same words while pulling my hair. Just then, the big gate threw open, and I saw Maverick. The moment he sighted me, he walked in my direction while I increased my pace. The faster I walked, the more my vision got blurry, strength draining out of me faster than it already was earlier on, and before I could get to him, I missed my steps because my right leg couldn't hold my weight any longer. I was expecting to fall flat on my face, but instead I fell into the arms of Maverick. He was some meters away from me. How did he get here so fast? With this, everything I saw yesterday and today played through my mind. Werewolves. Elissa and Maverick are both werewolves. "Rosalind, are you okay?" he asked. I pushed him away with all the strength I could gather. "I know who you are, both you and Elissa," I screamed at him as I staggered to my feet. "I saw it all." I felt my eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. My head was banging hard, and the pain of the unknown struck me. I looked at Maverick one last time, and saw the place I pushed him away from me, all stained with blood. I checked my hands to see why the blood was on his shirt, and then I discovered I was the one bleeding, and my legs were bleeding too. I wasn't wearing any shoes, and the only clothes I had on was my short nightgown. The pain exploded in my head again, and this time I lost my balance, and I fell straight into Maverick's arms again. "Werewolves," was the last word I said, before passing out. Chapter 53. The strange feeling like when one feels one is tied and locked in a compressed room, a room where the air feels restricted and one feels choked. Your airways feel blocked, and there's no means of breathing properly. Slowly, one starts suffocating, life draining out of the person, and finally one feels like they are dying. It feels like there's no way out, and the only way is death. Then, one finds oneself in the woods, running for their life, chased by a group of men dressed in black and wearing masks on their faces. No means of escaping. The only thing one could do is to run and scream for help, but no one was in sight to help. That was me, running for my life with those unknown people running after me. No matter how hard and fast I thought I was running, they were always close to me. And when it seemed like I was getting to the finish line, I was always tripped over by something, and I would fall hard on the ground. But now it seemed different. Those people were all with knives, chasing after me, and just like always I fell with a thud on the ground. My hands were bleeding, and before I could get back to my feet to continue running for my life, I felt someone's leg pressing mine hard into the ground. "Bitch, do you think you can run away from me with my pop?" came a deep, husky, masculine voice that sounded familiar. Where have I heard that voice My eyes popped open when the image of the owner of the voices came flooding through my mind, and I gasped. "Rhodey!" I yelled in my head. I was immediately flipped over by his gangs. How did he find me? How was I caught so soon? Oh no, Maverick and the pack would be in trouble. I have to get up. I have to fight to get to him and warn him that Rhodey is here. If anything happens to his pack members, I won't forgive myself, I said to myself, and was getting up when his hand gripped my throat tightly. "You finally recognize me, don't you? You think you can run away with my pup growing inside of you? You think you can raise him up without me, without his father?" Rhodey yelled. I was so weak that I couldn't do anything. Why am I weak? Where is my strength? Why can't I break free from his grip? Damn! Moon Goddess, please return my strength. No one is allowed to raise that pup except me. If I can't be with the pup, then nobody will. After saying those words, he pierced his sword into my protruding stomach repeatedly. I couldn't cry out, as my throat was squeezed tightly by him, making sure he couldn't hear any heartbeat of the pup, after which he threw me away like a sack of dirt. For a few seconds, I saw Maverick with my hands stretched out to him. Save me. Save us. Save the pack. "Lissa!" Maverick screamed. The sound of Maverick's scream jolted me, and I woke up to find myself in a white room with a white light blinding my eyes. Am I dead? Did Rhodey succeed in killing me? What about Maverick? Is he alive? I need to find him. I tried to get up, but some banging and screeching noise halted my movement as I placed my hands on my ears to prevent the noise. "She is awake. Call the Alpha," I heard someone say, and the sound of numerous feet was heard running towards me. "I'm not dead," I said with a smile on my lips. Slowly, my eyes began adjusting to the light. The banging noise stopped, but the screeching noise wouldn't stop for a second. Finally, adjusting to the light, I gasped in shock when I noticed my environment and where I was. "How is this possible?" I stammered, as I was too confused to construct a proper sentence. I was too stunned to find myself back in a place I thought I wasn't ever going to visit again. "Why am I here?" I asked the doctor, Mrs. Josephine, the pack doctor who Rhodey had assigned to take care of me during my training days. "You don't remember what happened?" asked Mrs. Josephine. "No. The last thing I remembered was when I was with my mate, Maverick. We went to a werewolf ball party. I was introduced to his friends, and I immediately noticed that I couldn't hear the heartbeat of my pup. What happened? What did you do to my pup?" I yelled, placing my hands on my stomach, trying to search if the pup was hiding somewhere. "Luna Elissa, please calm down. You just woke up, and we don't know how badly you're hurt because it's been 3... I don't care," I said, cutting her short of whatever she had to say. "What did you do to my pup?" I screamed more, releasing some dominant pheromones. "Luna, you were involved in an accident. You have been asleep for the past 3 days. We tried our best to save the pup, but we couldn't. You lost the baby," the doctor finally explained. No, that's a lie. "Ah!" I cried in pain as the screeching noise came back. Then fragments of what happened earlier in what looked like a dream flashed through my mind. What I did to Maverick, weakening him with wolfbane, leaving him vulnerable so he wouldn't follow me, running away, meeting with Justin, and then Rhodey. The only way I thought I could avoid coming back here was to run in front of a moving truck. But that seems that it didn't work, because here I was, in the same place where I never wanted to be. "Please, save my pup," I pleaded with her. But Mrs. Josephine shook her head, and I broke down in tears. Then I perceived the pheromones that disgust me the most, the pheromones that made me hate everything that has to do with mate and mating bonds. I grunted as he approached me, walking at a fast pace. "Elissa, you're awake. I'm glad you're awake," he said with a smile on his face. "You bastard. I'll make you pay for what you did. You killed my pup. You killed my joy and happiness," I barked, pointing at my stomach. "You killed the pup, not me. You jumped in front of the moving truck. You took away something special from me. You killed the heir to my pack. You even got yourself mated to a bastard. I will be the one to make you pay. You will have my pup growing inside you in no time," he threatened, turning to the sentinels beside him. "Take her to her apartment and chain her up," he ordered, before walking out. "Rhodey, you jerk!" I yelled after him. Soon my hands were seized as they took me away. I wasn't myself. My strength wasn't forthcoming. Since when did I become a weakling? I was carried to the room, while the sentinels apologized to me before leaving, locking the door behind them with the keys. I was left alone, pondering on my decisions and the mistakes I made. If I was with Maverick, I doubt I would be in such a messy situation. I wonder if Maverick is looking for me, or if he's pissed at what I did. I have to find a way to break away from here. I have to leave this place. I have to go to the council members and end this madness once and for all. When I succeed, I will go back to Maverick and end every issue we had, so we can begin anew. Chapter 54. Rhodey. Pacing to and fro my room, I was pondering on what next to do, as I have lost the most precious to me. I have lost my heir, the only heir that would rule my pack when I'm gone. I don't know if I could forgive her for being so reckless and stupid. She obviously knew what she was doing when she jumped in front of a moving truck. I should punish her. I should make her pay. I should make her suffer for everything. But instead, I couldn't dare lay a hand to strike her or give the command to have her flogged with the silver cane, a punishment befitting for those who broke the pack's rules. I hated the fact that my heart still felt soft for her, and Jocks, my wolf, wasn't being of any help. Even after breaking the bond with Leia and Elissa, his heart still kept beating for them, and he wouldn't accept the rejection made by them. None of us were expecting her to reject us, and when it came, I was so blinded by lust for Elizabeth and having her back in my arms that I neglected the fact that Elissa, our mate, had rejected us. I didn't think straight before accepting the rejection, which only got Jocks furious with me. Since then, he locked himself and cut all ties with me. He said the only way he'd accept to come out will be when I bring Elissa back. Having him locked away made me partially weak, as there was no wolf to lend me some strength. I was totally hopeless, and the only way to get back my fullness is having Elissa back, which I just did, fighting against all odds and even my pack elders. Having her will make my wolf come back to me. It would also bring the pack from its current state to a better state. That was my initial plan, until she ruined everything and killed my heir, which was growing inside of her. That thoughtless action of hers angered Jocks the most. He did nothing but blame me for driving her away and taking in a bastard, thereby allowing an outsider that was not worthy of our mate to touch her. I promise you, Jocks, I will make her carry our pup again in no time. She will be one with us again. I will erase that damn mark on her neck and replace it with our mark. I mind-linked Jocks, hoping he would reply to me when I open up to him about my plans. After waiting for about 15 minutes, I gave up the idea of him ever replying to me when I heard him growl. I thought you were smart, but I didn't know you weren't. How would you mark her when you are currently mated to another? By marking her, you will be killing both Elizabeth and Elissa's mate, Jocks said, and I scoffed. Are you worried about the traitor? I will be executing her once I lay my hands on her. And as for her damn mate, he wasn't meant to be. He would be better off dead and gone. It will save me the stress of killing him with my bare hands, I replied to him, and the damn wolf laughed. Guess you don't know by doing that you'll be putting Elissa in pain too. Are you on my side or theirs? Her pain will be her punishment for killing my heir and allowing another to mark her. Have you forgotten that you rejected her against my will? What were you expecting her to do? Fall on her knees and beg us? When she rejected us, you wouldn't have accepted it. You would have rejected her rejection and claimed her again, but instead, you foolishly accepted her rejection and broke all connections between us. To her, we mean nothing, and you can't hold her against her will. You will endanger your people if words go out that she is here," Jock said, not giving me a minute break without shoving it at my face how badly I fucking messed up. "Let the words fly around, I don't fucking care. As long as she is here, you will always surface. Without you, Jocks, I'm nothing but a mere human, and I will never be one. I will never be weak. So, you will risk your pack and endanger your pack members for your selfish desires. Enough, Jocks, I yelled at him. Remain back in your shell until I need you again. With that, I shut him to the back of my mind, erasing his words from my head. Who gave him the audacity to lecture me on what's right and wrong? Apart from securing my pack's current state to a better one, having an heir is the most important thing, and I will make sure she gets pregnant in a week. Josephine, come to my office right now. I mind-linked the doctor that was assigned to Elissa. In less than 20 minutes, she was knocking at my door, and at my command, she walked in and stood in front of me. She bowed her head courteously and said her greetings. Let me go straight to the point. How fast can you make her get pregnant? I threw the question at her, which stunned her. Pardon, Alpha. I don't understand your question, she answered. What don't you fucking get? I roared, throwing a file at her, which landed on her face before dropping down to the ground. I asked a simple question. How long will it take her to get pregnant? She just lost a baby, and she's currently healing. But due to the silver chains used to restrain her, it will take a longer time for her to heal. That doesn't answer my questions, Josephine. Stop beating around the bush, else you will be tied beside her as well. A month or two, she stammered. Fuck. I need to get her pregnant within a week. Can you make that possible? I asked. Yes, Alpha, I can, but it will endanger her life. She is still in a stage of healing. I don't care. Induce her with any drugs you have that can make her get pregnant very fast. I will be meeting her in 2 days. Make sure she is horny, wet, and ready for me. You are dismissed, I said to her. Yes, Alpha. She bowed, excusing herself out of my office. When the door was shut behind her, I smiled, knowing that my dreams were coming true. Now I know I don't have any issues, and I'm capable of producing an heir. Elissa was a suitable sack that would carry my pup. I wouldn't miss this opportunity for anything. I was about to get up when I felt a sharp pain piercing my heart. My heart felt like it was crushed by my chest bones, and I gasped, falling hard on the ground. What is happening, Jocks? I asked, as another wave of pain coupled with heat hit me, and I coughed. The next cough was accompanied by blood. My temperature was hotter than normal, and slowly I found myself feeling aroused, my dick twitching painfully. Each twitch was like a needle inserted into my body, and I heard Jax howl in a painful cry. I knew whatever was affecting me was affecting him, too. Your bitch mate is having sex with another, Jax cried. Slowly, I started to feel the thrust of whoever was having sex with Elizabeth. Though aroused and horny, all I could feel were thorns piercing every part of my body. I will kill that bastard! I'll kill her! I yelled, as I gnawed on my chest, trying to claw out my heart, hoping it would help ease the pain I was feeling. I needed to get to any of my whores. If I can penetrate them, I guess this pain will subside. The last wave of pain hit me by surprise, and all I could see was darkness hovering around me, and gradually I embraced the darkness that called out to me. A knock on the door jolted me up from my sleep as I was laying on the floor. My mouth was stained with blood, my shirt and the ground were stained too. Then I remembered what happened, and I clenched my hands tightly. For the pains I felt, I promised to make her suffer 100 times. A loud bang on the door brought me out of my thoughts. "Who the fuck is that?" I cursed. "It's I, Mark." "Yes, Mark, what can I do for you?" Mark is one of the pack's guards, so I was wondering what business I had with him that would make a guard knock on my door that way. I hadn't wandered far when he dropped the bomb on me. "The Luna has escaped," he announced. "What?" Elissa. Trapped on a cage-like hospital bed, nobody was coming to my rescue. Who would, anyway? I made a dumb mistake without planning things through. I thought it would be a smooth ride to my destination. I never planned for the obstacle I might meet along the road. Now I'm stuck here, with no way out, and my hands tied on each side of the bed, as well as my legs. I wasn't given a chance to mourn my pup when he told me he would make me pregnant again. If I ever want to get pregnant again, I want nobody else's pup growing in my womb except Maverick's. He is the only one I want right now. He is the only one I want to penetrate me, and not Rhodey. I would rather allow the moon goddess to take my life than submit myself to a total bastard like him. I have to find a way to break through and escape. Moon goddess, just this once, please, just this once. Save me and help me get to Japan and end this before blood is spilled. Please and please keep Maverick safe. I prayed silently, hoping that the moon goddess would hear and answer my prayers. Just then, the door opened. I couldn't see who was coming because I was tied, and the only place I could see was the ceiling. I had to depend on my nose to do the findings for me. Deeply, I hoped it wasn't Rhodey, because the silver chains used to bond me were draining my strength, and I doubt I would have any strength to fight him off from having sex with me. The smell of a female pheromone filled my nostril, and I heaved a sigh of relief. It was Mrs. Josephine, and I smiled when she got close to my bed. "Good evening, Luna. I'm deeply sorry for what Alpha is doing to you. I'm sorry you have to go through all this," she apologized, and I smiled. "You don't have to apologize, Jose. It isn't your fault. If it's anyone's fault, then it's mine. I shouldn't have thought that I would be able to handle everything on my own. I should have opened up to my mate, and maybe, just maybe, I wouldn't be here, and my pup would still be alive. I guess I was trying to avoid spilling innocent blood, and in the end I spilled the blood of my innocent pup," I confessed, trying to fight the tears that were building up in my eyes. "I'm sorry. This shouldn't be happening to you. You're supposed to be recovering, not tied up like this," she said, keeping a box on the table beside my bed. "It's okay. That aside, why are you here? Does Rhodey know that you're here?" I asked, and she bobbed her head. "What are you here for? It seems he must have sent you to me." "You are correct, Luna. I'm sorry if I'm going to cause you further pain, but I have to do it according to his biddings, else I would be in danger," she apologized, as she unlocked the box she brought in. "What did he ask you to do?" "I was told to make you horny, wet, and fertile for the day he will come and have intercourse with you, so I'm here to administer the dosage to you. It won't hurt, Luna, but due to your current state, I don't know what it might do to you. I tried making him see the reasons why he needed to give you some space to heal before doing all these, but he threatened me. I can't lose my life because of the both of you. My life is precious to me, she said, while injecting the substance into the syringe. This isn't happening to me. Is this the plan he had in mind when he said he was going to make me get pregnant again? And with these drugs, nothing would be able to stop me from getting pregnant? Please, Josephine, please, don't do this to me. Please, I pleaded with her. I'm sorry, Luna. My life is at stake, too. I will inject you with clomiphene citrate. It will help fasten the hormones, she said, ignoring my pleas. Please, Josephine, if you were in my shoes, would you like to suffer the same fate as I am right now? I promise to protect you and make sure he doesn't hurt anyone and ban him from this pack forever. I can't do this if you trap me here forever. Please, think about it. Please, I pleaded. How are you going to make him leave forever? So far he is stronger than you, she asked, and I used the opportunity to explain to her about my plans of going to the Werewolf Council members in Japan, the only people that have the authority to renounce a werewolf from his position and cast him out from the pack and make him a rogue wolf. And that's what we need right now. Dethroning him is what we need. I see. If that would save my life and the pack, I'm in. I heaved a sigh of relief when she finally accepted and agreed to work with me. Thank you, Josephine. But first, I need to get out of here. I lifted my hands for her to see the silver cuffs. I might be a doctor, but I'm very good at picking locks. My special talent. Hold on, let me grab my pins and put on my gloves, Josephine said. And soon she was picking the locks. Before I could count 1 to 10, she was done with freeing my hands and legs. Thank you, Josephine. I owe you one. But now, how do we leave without allowing anyone to see us? Hide your pheromones. And I'm sorry, but I have to put you in the trunk of my car to avoid being caught, she apologized. No problems. As long as we are out of here, I'm good, I replied while rubbing my hands. The silver cuffs have given me some red blisters, and it hurts like hell, and even my ankles, too. I stood up to walk, but my legs couldn't hold my weight, and I was about to fall to the ground when Mrs. Josephine held me by my waist. Slow down, Luna. You're still weak. Lean on me, she suggested, and I did as she instructed. I was glad her car was right in front of the building. She opened the trunk of her car, and she gently placed me inside. I breathed in and prayed we weren't caught by anyone. I felt the car moving, and when we got somewhere, the car came to a halt, and I feared that we had been caught. I prepared myself for the worst to happen the moment the car trunk opened. I smiled when she was the only one standing. We have passed the pack, and we are far away. You can come sit at the front, and I grabbed your bag along the way, she said, pointing to the back seat, and I smiled. What's next? She asked. A flight to Japan.
Chapter 55. Maverick. It's been 3 days since Rosaline walked through my pack's gate. She was all torn with blood gushing out from her hands and feet. At first, when I saw her walking in on the verge of death, I wondered what might have happened, who she might have fought with that could have done that to her. My thoughts quickly dismissed off when she was about to fall. I forgot about hiding my identity. I forgot about hiding the fact that I'm a werewolf. I didn't even think that if I exposed myself to her, she would definitely know that Elissa wasn't human, but a werewolf as well. Here, I'm risking all that and forgetting completely about our secrets. My top priority was getting to her. I was scared a bit that being a human and having lost so much blood, if she had fallen to the ground with the way she was looking right now, something worse might happen to her human body. I'm not the type to care for humans unless they are in danger, But right now, I have a deep connection with her. Protecting and helping her was an obligation because I felt indebted to her. Without her helping and offering Elissa a job, I doubt I would have met her and made it with her. I ran as fast as I could, grabbing her and holding her close to my chest. I could see the fear in her eyes as she stared at me, but my thoughts were not in her eyes, as I could perceive the smell of blood, and I knew she must have lost a lot for her to be this weak. She must insanely have some hidden powers in her, because all humans to me were all fragile. But seeing her strong she has definitely changed my perspective about humans. A moan escaped her lips, which took my attention away from my thoughts to the weak woman on my hands. She slowly lifted her hands to point at me, saying she knew about me and Elissa. But how the fuck did she know about me and my kind, apart from knowing about Justin? I know that Elissa and I have been careful with her. We've been so careful about revealing ourselves to her. So how then did she know about us? Her hand dropped to her side, and her breathing slowly ceased. I screamed at the top of my voice for my sentinels to take her to the pack hospital. They rushed towards me and carried her from my hands. In the process, 2 phones fell from her pocket. I bent down to pick both phones when I perceived Lorenzo's pheromones beside me.
Alpha, what do we do now? Proceed to the original plan, or what's next?
He asked, and I shook my head.
Elissa made me vow to protect her. And if I leave her like this without making sure she is okay when I finally get to Elissa and break her free, she would hate me for letting her only friend die.
I paused to stare at the phones in my hand.
Here, I need you to check whatever information is inside these phones and give me feedback. I need to know how she found out about Elissa and I. Be fast about it, please.
I told him before handing over the phones to him.
I will make sure I get you the answers as soon as possible.
He was about to leave when he stopped. He seemed to be searching for something in the midst of the commotion.
Is anything the problem, Lorenzo?
I asked him.
Nothing at all. But where is the Luna's Gamma and your friend, Elsa?
He asked.
I sent them away. They are dealing with some important issues.
I answered.
What could that be, Maverick? Not in my place to say until they are ready to share with the pack members. I would rather keep it a secret till then,
I replied. He bowed and was about to leave when I called him.
Whatever you do, make sure word doesn't get to them about what's going on with Elissa. Is that clear? Yes, Maverick,
he responded, and I smiled at him. He is indeed a friend I could count on.
Thank you. Please, do carry on.
This was the last time I heard from him since then. I guess he must have buried himself in the work I assigned to him. The time was ticking fast, and Rosaline hadn't shown any sign of waking up. The pack's doctor said she had passed the stage of danger, and every vital organs in her body are working perfectly fine. So why isn't she waking up? Just then, I heard a slight knock on the door, and I commanded whoever it was at the door to come in. Lorenzo walked in, holding the 2 phones in his hands, and I stood up to meet him.
Did you find anything useful in there?
I asked, pointing at the phones, and he nodded.
Go ahead, spill. Justin has been spying on her for a long time. There are clips of her morphing into her wolf. And of you too.
He sighed, and I knew what was coming next. I only waited for it to come out.
How could you, Rick? Do you mean you didn't notice that both of you were being monitored by a common gamma wolf? Fine, I understand her, but you are supposed to be the alpha, guiding her, and you let your guard down?
Lorenzo scolded me, and I bent my head in dishonor. He was right in every way. Everything was my fault. If I had been focused, none of this would have happened. Elissa wouldn't have been in danger. I would have handled it on time.
You are right. I'm ashamed of myself. And right now, I feel like I have failed her. I have to...
A moan drew our attention, and our eyes were focused on Rosaline, who seemed to have regained consciousness. She moaned, and we both rushed to her side.
Water,
she stuttered. Lorenzo quickly got her a bottle of water. Opening the cap of the bottle, he handed it to her. When she saw I was there, she screamed and threw the bottle of water at me. I was expecting this kind of reaction, but I don't have time for this. I needed to get to Elissa right now. I have wasted enough time already. During these 3 days of being here babysitting Rosaline, my dreams and sleep have been haunted with having to watch Elissa get killed before my eyes, and I couldn't do anything to protect her. I couldn't save her. One thing I'm scared of right now is having my dreams come to pass. Not having her with me right now is like a part of my world is gone. I didn't know when I became head over heels in love with her, but right now, I couldn't bear to stay far away from her for long. Rosaline wasn't helping me right now. Her screams were only adding more problems to the already many problems I was trying to deal with, and it wasn't helping the situation right now. I was almost at the point of losing it.
Enough, Rose!
I let out a scream that sounded like a roar, which startled both Lorenzo and Rosaline. The place went dead silent, and if a pin was thrown to the ground, the sound of the pin could be heard.
You can scream all you want, but that won't make what you saw go away. Yes, I'm a werewolf. I own this pack, and every fucking thing you are seeing here, and I rule the people you are seeing here. Yes, Elissa is a werewolf, and no, I didn't bite her. She was born that way, and she is my mate or wife, as you humans call it. No, we are not dangerous creatures and won't bite you unless you pose as a threat to us, and if we ever wanted to hurt you, we would have done it a long time ago. So no, we won't hurt you.
I paused to take a deep breath.
I honestly get why you are scared right now. Because things like these only happen in movies and stuff. But it's real. Everything you see in the movies are all real. We breathe and bleed too,
I concluded. To prove that to her, I took a knife from Lorenzo.
Maverick, let me do this,
Lorenzo said, trying to stop me, but I raised my hand at him, indicating him to halt.
I will be fine. I have taken things worse than this.
With that, I slit my wrist with the knife, and blood came gushing out of the cut, and soon my wrist was all healed, like there wasn't a cut on it before.
The only thing that makes us different is the ability for us to heal quickly. We have our weaknesses that could kill us too. I'm sorry for deceiving you, and on behalf of Elissa, who isn't here at the moment, I sincerely apologize to you.
I bowed my head to her.
Justin, he's missing,
she stuttered.
He is here with me. He committed an offense, and he is being tried. I would love to keep this conversation going for long, but I have to go. Elissa is missing, and I need to look for her,
I explained, and she nodded. I knew everything was too much for her to handle. I wasn't going to pressure her to accept us, but I would do everything in my power to persuade her to keep our secrets from humans.
You can stay here as much as you want. Breakfast will be brought in any moment from now, and I swear with my life it wasn't poisoned. If you want me to taste from the food, I will do just that too. But all I need from you, Rose, is to please keep our secrets away from your kind. If our secrets are exposed, then I fear hunters will start emerging, and that will lead to war against werewolves and humans who are hunters. So please, I beseech you, keep our secrets and protect it, please.
I fell on my knees, and Lorenzo did the same. That was the only way to beg her. I could have used the hard and brutal way, but that would scare her. And since she is the one that helped Elissa, I wouldn't dare lay a finger at her. When she nodded, I thanked her and was about to head towards the door when I heard her voice. "Justin, I think he has something to do with Elissa's disappearance," she said, and I smiled before bobbing my head at her, indicating that I knew that already, and she heaved a sigh. I couldn't understand if it was a sigh of disappointment or relief. "What are you going to do to him?" she asked.
I don't know yet, until I get back,
I replied honestly.
"Where is he?"
in the dungeon. If you want to see him, I will tell one of the guards standing in front of your door to take you to him. I have to go now.
I excused myself, and she bobbed her head with a smile that looked unreal and forced. I wanted to touch her shoulders to reassure her, but she flinched at the sight of my hands, and I immediately took a step backward. And that was when I felt my wrists and ankles burning, and I yelped, staggering backward, and was caught by Lorenzo, who used his body to balance me from falling to the ground.
"What's wrong, Rick?"
asked Lorenzo, who looked terrified. The pain was no longer there, but I could feel my wrists and ankles still burning, and I knew it was Elissa. Roddy was doing something bad to her.
"It's Elissa. She's hurt,"
I replied, showing him my wrists.
"Inform everyone. We are going to war,"
I instructed him, and he left to deliver my message. A few minutes later, the door barged open, and I was shocked to see them. They weren't supposed to be here. Why are they here?
"Rick, mind explaining to me what the fuck is going on?"
yelled the voice, and I gasped out, too shocked to answer.
Chapter 57. Elissa. "Luna Elissa, when we get to Japan, we still need to visit the hospital," Mrs. Josephine said the moment she sat beside me inside the plane on our way to Japan. "Why? Is something wrong with me?" I asked, feigning ignorance. "We have to get rid of the dead embryo inside of you, either through medications or D&C. If not, you will be at risk of not giving birth again," she explained. She went further to tell me of the risk and danger of not removing the dead embryo inside me, and I sighed. "Can't we do this when we have gotten what we want? My people need me, and I have to prevent this war from happening," I asked her, because deep within me that was the least of my problems, and she knew it. I was shocked when she brought it up again. This topic has been our argument all through our drive to the airport, and I thought she would have given it a rest, but I was wrong, because she brought it up again. "No, we can't, except you don't want to have kids of your own anymore. What are you scared of, Luna?" You are a werewolf. You would heal easily after you get operated on, which is the fastest way. You can leave that same day without wasting time. Your body would have healed completely. Damn, this bitch is too persistent. It's not like I'm scared of anything, but I don't have that much time to spare, I replied. When I saw she was about to say something, I finally agreed with her, because disagreeing will call for another round of lecturing, and all I wanted was to relax my nerves before the actual work begins. Seeing that I had accepted her request, she smiled before resting her head on the seat. Soon the pilot announced our takeoff, advising us to buckle up. I didn't know when I slept off. I was brought back by the voice of the pilot telling us we had arrived in Japan. I got up and took my backpack before waking Dr. Josephine up. When we got down from the plane, I asked Dr. Josephine to follow me as I sighted a phone booth, and she was confused. All through my escape and freedom from Rhodey, I had forgotten to call Maverick. I was supposed to call, apologize, and tell him that I was okay, and would put an end to everything. I should have told him my plans of making Rhodey resign, because to everyone he wasn't fit to rule or worthy to be called an alpha. I knew Maverick would be worried, and if he finds out I was kidnapped by Rhodey, he wouldn't miss a chance to declare war against Rhodey, and everything I have sacrificed would be in vain, and I wasn't going to let that happen. I wanted peace, and that was what I'm going to get. I need to use a phone. I need to make a call real quick, I said, and she quietly followed me to the phone booth. I quickly typed in Maverick's number as we waited for him to answer the phone before heading to the hospital. His phone wasn't connecting. I tried the number again, almost 6 times, but it was saying the same thing. Cannot be reached. I quickly dialed Harry's number, and Elsa's number all said the same thing, and I felt my heart skip a beat. My mind wandered off until Dr. Josephine tapped me on the shoulder, which startled me, and I yelped in fright. "Is everything okay? You look like someone who just saw a ghost," she asked. "Yeah, I don't know if I'm okay. I just called back home, and everyone's number is not connecting. I'm scared. What if what I'm trying to avoid is happening right now?" I asked her. My hands shaking and my heart beating fast at the thought of Maverick fighting and something bad happening to him or Elsa or Harry. I won't be able to forgive myself because I'm the cause of everything. Calm down, Luna. What if they are asleep? Remember, different time zones. Dr. Josephine said, trying to calm me down. I know Rick. He doesn't turn off his phone except... I should be positive. I'm sorry, Dr. Josephine. I will have to decline your offer of going to the hospital. I don't feel at ease right now, I said, and she bobbed her head in agreement. We will stop by a pharmaceutical store, and I will get the medications you need for it to work, she replied, and I thanked her. We boarded a cab. After giving him the address, he drove off, stopping for Dr. Josephine to get the medications she needed, and we were back on the road again. Once fitted beside me, she administered the medications to me. It took us 3 hours to get to our destination. After paying the cab driver, we walked down the narrow path until we got to the Black Gate, which is the entrance to the Werewolf Council members' domain. This is it. This is what I have been wanting, and it's at the tip of my fingers. Please, Maverick, wait for me a little, and don't hurt yourself. I'm coming soon, I prayed silently. After punching the password, the gate flung open for us to enter. When we got in, we were surrounded by sentinels who were armed with bows and arrows, swords and some other weapons that could slice through the bones of anybody they attack. State your purpose? One of the sentinels, who I presumed to be the leaders of the troops, asked. I'm here from a far country to seek the help of the council members. With their support, spilling of blood would be avoided and innocent lives would be saved. I solemnly answered. He turned to his fellow sentinels, and I knew he must have mind-linked them about something, and soon they were beside us, searching us, in case we had weapons or anything that was against their policies. Once they were sure we had nothing, he smiled at us. "Follow me," he instructed, and we obliged. He took us to a building and ushered us into a room with 2 beds, and told us to wait for the betas to come get us. "Thank you very much," I greeted, and he smiled again before bowing his head and taking his leave. When he was gone, I turned to look at Dr. Josephine, and a laugh broke out from me, which made her confused. "We are so close to ending his reign, and everything will be okay once again. I told you I will make it all work well. Thank you for trusting and saving me," I said, drawing her closer for a warm hug. Just then, the door opened, and we saw some people with the pheromones of alphas and betas standing in front of us. They were wearing black robes with a touch of red. "Good evening, Luna, Elissa, and Dr. Josephine. I'm Haru Akio. Welcome to the Christine Pack. The leaders are waiting for you at the meeting hall," he said, and I was mesmerized at how he knew both our names, and he pointed to the camera beside me. "How did you know what I was thinking?" I stammered. "That's his gift. I'm Ren Kaito. We all have our special gifts as long as we are working with the council leaders. That's why we are unique. Come, we have to go. We don't want to keep them waiting. And note, he will take your hand to read your past. Once he finds your case unique, he will take it over. Very importantly, don't stare at him in the eyes. Your head must be bowed always, until he tells you to look at him. Plus, he is the oldest werewolf, and the leader before the others." He gave us all the information we needed. "If I'm not intruding, can we know his name?" Dr. Josephine asked, pointing to the both of us. "His name is the Unknown, which means we can't say his name unless he permits us. Now, come along," Ren said, leading the way, and we followed them like obedient children. Soon, we will be meeting the people that have our fate in their hands. Chapter 58. Elissa. "Elissa Smith, the beloved Luna of the Silver Crest Pack. We have been waiting for you, and we know why you are here, but you have to be scanned thoroughly and see if your case needs urgent tending to. I'm Council Leader 2, Aoi Haruki," one of the council members said the moment we greeted them. There was an empty seat besides Aoi, and I assumed it would be the leader's position. Ren had briefed us earlier about him and all of them. Aoi Haruki was the fastest among all 9 remaining council leaders. There was Hiroshi Daisuke, Council Leader 3, the strongest among them. Another is Kenji Kiyoshi, the slowest but the smartest one. He is ranked number 10. Oh, there is Hiroto Yamato, the cutest, and he is the healer. He is ranked number 4. I could easily identify him because he is the most handsome one among all of them. There is the 5th member, named Hiro Itsuki. He is gifted with sight. There is the 6th member, Akira Yoshi, gifted with wisdom. According to Ren, he is the one that deals with problems and handles all solutions. There is Asahi Hiroki, the 7th member. His gift is quite rare, and I was amazed when I heard it. He has the gift of teleporting and opening of portals. How in the world he got such power amazes me, since I heard it from Ren. There is Akio Takumi, the 8th and the smallest member. His gift is light, which is also called fire. And the 9th member, which is Osamu Shinobu. His gift was force pull. He could separate and tear things. He could bend metals. Finally, the old man whom Ren called the Unknown, ranked number 1. He has all the gifts except Sora's gift. His other unique gifts were seeing the past and future. I wondered why the moon goddess didn't bless everyone with unique gifts. Then Rhodey's thought flashed through my mind, and I was glad she didn't, because Rhodey would have used his own for evil. The voice of Owie jolted me from my thoughts. He was standing in front of me with his hands stretched out to me. Without thinking, I placed my hands on his, and he held me till we got to the center of the hall, where all eyes were on me. Slowly, he started introducing the members to me, and when he was about to introduce the old man, we all heard a tap on his shoulders. The old man was behind him, and immediately I averted my eyes before doing what others were doing, bowing down my head before him. "Elissa Smith and Josephine James, welcome. You can both stand up. On behalf of everyone here, we apologize to you for the pains the moon goddess made you go through," he said, and held my hands in his. He inhaled and used his other hand to bring my face to stare at him, and I gasped. Why the fuck did Wren say he was an old man? Standing before me is one of the youngest and most handsome men I have ever seen. He could pass for a god, and I wouldn't argue about it. He could be the goddess of beauty's son for all I know. He cleared his throat and smiled at me, after successfully calling back my attention. I keep forgetting the warnings Wren gave me about him reading minds. "Your case, Elissa, would not be taken by us. I apologize for you going through that stress to come to us, but there is nothing we can do about it," he said, pointing at the other council leaders who bowed their heads. "Your case isn't that special or peculiar enough for us to handle," he concluded, and I scoffed, which made the members murmur among themselves. I knew I was making a death wish, but at that point I didn't care anymore. They were my last hope, and now they are turning down my plea for help because it wasn't peculiar enough? Who the fuck does that? There wasn't any way out in averting this, and I might as well die in their hands than have to face a war I've worked beyond my capacity to avoid. No, you can't say that. There are innocent people out there, innocent blood that would be shed for what they know nothing about, I spat carelessly. "It would have been avoided if you hadn't run away," he said, and I choked on my laughter. "You know who Rhodey is, because you must have seen him already. He rejected me, cheated on me with someone I called a sister, and I left him to have a better life, and got a second-chance mate. He came for me with his troops to search for me. If he had found me there, he would have brought war to Maverick. That's what I was trying to avoid by running away," I yelled without thinking. I was done being afraid of anyone or anything the moment he refused to help me. "Your case isn't peculiar enough for me to attend to it. It doesn't excite me, or rather, like you call it, interest me enough to want to leave my seat to attend to it." "Excite you? Do you fucking think this is a game?" I threw at him. I forgot he was fast, and like a brim of light, his hand was gripping my throat tightly. "I think you have forgotten where you are and whose presence you are in. Don't tempt me to rip your throat off, because I'm this close to doing that." He glared at me, before removing his eyes from mine and focusing them on Wren. "I hate to see such a beautiful face covered in blood. Get her out of here," he ordered. I was grabbed by my hands as he started dragging me out. "No, no, please, consider the children that would be killed. Please, ah!" I winced in pain as I felt a cut on my hand and abdomen. Soon, blood started gushing out from the wound, and Dr. Josephine ran to me, tearing the hand of the sleeve I wore while doing the same to hers. She was using both of them to apply pressure to the bleeding cut. "What's wrong, Luna?" she asked. Maverick." I flinched in pains. Unknown was right in front of us in no time. He looked closely at Dr. Josephine before he stared at my hands and abdomen that was bleeding. He placed his hands on the cut, and his once purple eyes became white, and he quickly released my hands. "Hiroto." He called one of the council members, and he was right beside him in no time. "Heal her wounds, and make sure it gets to her mate." "Yes, Alpha," Hiroto answered him before attending to me. Then I realized why he was called the one with the healing powers. I could feel the pains relieving me, and I knew deep down that Maverick would be feeling the ease too, and his wounds would be sealing off. I'm glad I could help him with this little thing, but another thing drew my attention and kept me alert, and that was, he might probably be at war with Rhodey. That's why I couldn't get a hold of him. "Asahi, prepare the portal. We have work to do," he instructed. Asahi nodded and started working. "This case, after all, is going to be interesting," he said, before bending down to whisper something to my ears. "Remember this, little wolf. My name is Minato Kazuki, and I will grant you your wish. Again, I apologize." "Portal is ready," Asahi said, using his initials, and Minato smiled. "Let's go pay them a visit," he announced.